The Spin-off Podcast Network.
This is Kiwi is back for a brand new season with more inspiring kōrero from special guests including rugby player, father and role model TJ Perenara.
My family bring me joy. Rugby brings me joy too, but it's not the same joy as my family brings me.
And global dancer and choreographer Kirsten Dodgen.
For some reason, people think I'm very intimidating.
Listen to the new season of This is Kiwi, brought to you by the Spin-off Podcast Network in collaboration with KiwiBank. Available now wherever you get your podcasts.
Kia ora, this is Toby Manhire, here to urge you to tune in to Gone by Lunchtime, a podcast with me, Annabelle Lee Mather and Ben Thomas, tackling the world of New Zealand politics, from policy to polling, from scandal to psychodrama. Listen to Gone by Lunchtime, brought to you by the Spin-off Podcast Network, wherever good pods are sold.
Do you know what I'm predicting?
Bad pod.
No, great pod. I'm on the
VP, baby.
I'm on the hard seltzers.
I can't believe you've cracked a pals at 1:16 p.m. on a Tuesday.
To drink approximately a third of it.
This is the carnival. This is the long weekend that will never end.
This is the real pod. Kia ora and welcome to The Real Pod. This is your reality TV and real life New Zealand podcast. My name's Janie. I'm joined by Alex Casey.
Hello there.
Hello. And noticeably absent, one Duncan Grieve.
Where is that man?
I suppose he's the managing editor of the popular media website, The Spin-off, and to that end, perhaps he's busy doing things that are important.
I don't believe it. I think he's
Fake
at the
news.
beach.
He might be at the beach. I don't know where he is. I have no idea where he is. I don't know what he's doing. I just know that he's not here. And I hate it. I think he'll be back next week. And he's hating it too. He really wanted, again, for us to move things around or find some sort of way.
He's like, I've got 10 minutes on Thursday morning between 8:30 and 9. It's like, no. We cannot.
But he will be here hopefully next week, but I don't want to make any promises. If you would like to join the Real Pod Corner, that's a place where all our mates get together, all our best pretend mates. They're real mates, but they're mates, many of whom we have not met. They get together and they talk about the stuff that we talk about on the podcast and many, many other things besides. You can find the Real Pod Corner on facebook.com/groups/Real Pod Corner. Let's get into the real news.
Pods have been discontinued.
Okay, not podcasts.
For now.
Well, okay, not podcasts, obviously, because you're listening to one right now.
For now.
But pods, the delicious bite-sized morsels.
The perfect New Zealand snack. Gone.
What is happening?
I didn't know. Okay, do you remember when pods first came out?
I don't remember specifically, but I've always enjoyed them.
I think it was video store. It was the like end of the video store era.
Yeah.
And pods almost like kept me coming back. They had Mars flavour, they had Snickers. And I think that was all.
Yeah, it feels like there was a whole range, but when you look at the news items about this, they just reference the Mars and the Snickers. So,
but perhaps because it's such a diverse, in and of itself, so many layers, textures, flavours that you think you're having more. So it's like Toby Manhire didn't know what a pod was.
Okay, shame on all of us, to be honest, for letting this happen, because it's a classic case of you don't know what you've got until it's gone. You just assume it's going to be there when it tickles your fancy, but you need to be regular about your purchases of the things you enjoy. Otherwise, they're going to get discontinued.
I think the last time I had pods was when I went to see Godzilla vs. Kong, and it was awesome.
Okay, so a classic movie snack.
Classic. Some people put them in with the popcorn, which I don't agree with because I think too much crunch.
Yeah, right, as in take a handful of popcorn and there might be a pod in there. No. Enjoy on its own merits.
Standalone. And I really hope that I can fulfill my food fantasy, which is filling a bowl with pods and then pouring milk in it and eating it like cereal.
Pods, they're discontinued, but oftentimes that means there's still a few lurking around.
There'll be some in a dairy somewhere.
Okay. If you see those, snap them up and send them to Alex.
I can't believe I didn't do it. You've got to live every day. You've got to live every day like it's your last.
Eat every snack as if it will be discontinued.
Live your food fantasy now.
Oh my God. It's a really sad day. Road trip snack as well for many. And also an office snack. I feel like the last time I had them was right here in the spin-off offices. Like there was a pack hanging around.
It's an occasion, a pod.
Also, and I know that grazing tables are extremely controversial, but they are a good grazing table addition.
Yes.
If you were so inclined.
They're hardy.
They are. Okay, so let's for those who don't know what pods are, I mean, you're never going to know the amazingness, but the little tiny, they look like little UFOs, and they're like a crunchy base, like a wafery crunchy base, but thicker than a wafer. But not quite biscuit. Somewhere in between that.
Almost like a cereal, like a Milo
like
cereal.
The Milo cereal. Same shape. It's in this little boat shape. And then inside that is your gooey filling, whether it be Snickers or Mars inspired. And then on top of that, like a hard chocolate shell.
Yeah.
And like a lovely little clam. So many ways to describe a pod.
Oh my God, it is like a lovely little clam. Chocolate clam.
Anyway, RIP pods.
It's a make your voice heard.
Yeah, well,
I think
people have
still
been.
Time.
2,600 people, more than that, in fact, have signed an online petition calling on Mars NZ to bring back the pods.
Bring back my pods. And also sometimes you get one that didn't have the filling in it, all the chocolate. It would just be the shell, and that would be a bit of fun.
That would be a rip-off, is what that would be.
But there's always one in the bag, and you're like, oh, there you are.
The runt of the litter. The runt pod. We could do the whole...
We could do a pod.
Whole podcast.
Pods pod.
Could be a pods pod. This is a tribute to pods pod. Okay?
Yes.
Even if we're not talking about it, still we're thinking about it.
Pods would have been the perfect sponsor. Why did we not think about this?
I feel like they probably didn't have any money and that's why.
Maybe we can save them through being the real pod sponsor.
I mean, we did increase the awareness of cheesy garlic bread when Nando's sponsored us.
We
Still
did.
Good, by the way. Still yum. Still
Really
totally
good.
support Nando's and their delicious cheesy garlic bread. That wasn't just a sponsor commitment. And we could do the same thing for you, Mars, if you're listening. Big chock. All right, let's move on. Shanae from You Can't Talk. Into the coffin you go.
Hold on.
Into the coffin you go. All right, she's gone. It's just us. You should see what Alex is wearing today. Oh, I jest. But Shanae from Bachelor NZ was shown on Moses' Instagram having a lovely meal, presumably with Moses. So make of that what you will. I don't think he follows actually many of the bachelorettes on Instagram, so it's like a big call for him to be showing her publicly on his stories. Oh, she's coming out. She's coming out of the crypt.
What was the meal?
Oh, God, I don't know. Hang on. Let me talk about something.
Well, was it a restaurant meal or was it a home-cooked meal?
Oh, no, it was cafe. Yeah, no, it was cafe.
It was like a brunch, eggs benny.
It is a big fat pancake with bananas, bacon and maple syrup. Very rustic, like not a fancy one.
Okay.
So, yeah, Sunday is for pancakes and coffee. Oh, there's some chippies there. Hot chippies with tomato sauce by the looks and aioli. So, ooh la la.
It's a good sounding brunch.
Brunch is something you do after you've spent the night and had a big sleep in, isn't it?
Is it?
I don't know.
Is it?
I don't want to say anything.
Is it?
I don't want to assume anything. But just do with that what you will. Okay, the Masked Singer. I was going to say judges, but they're not called judges, are they? They're called the guessing panel. The guessing panel has been announced. And
I'm so excited.
It is all of New Zealand, isn't it?
Huh?
Isn't the guessing panel all of New Zealand?
Well,
really?
yes. But we have our four
On
representatives,
Yeah.
on camera representatives. And it's a hot lineup, and I am so excited about this show.
Who is it, Alex?
So we've got the two kind of main ones, as in they're in the middle, I don't know, is Reece Darby and Lady Six, which I think is an incredible get. She was, I understand from reporting, this was outside of the coffin information, that she was actually approached to be a mask. But she was like, nah, fuck that. I want to be on the guessing panel.
Okay.
Which is real cool.
If you sit in the middle, when you say they're the main ones, what you really mean is they're getting more money than the other two on the outside? That's my assumption. I know you don't know.
Saying a lot of things
I'm not
today.
asking you to confirm anything. I'm just saying when I assume Simon Cowell is getting more money than he's literally the only person I can remember from X Factor.
Yeah, I feel like he's not a good example either because he kind of like owns the format.
That's
and stuff,
true.
doesn't he?
That's true.
So
He's
yeah,
he's clipping the ticket.
he's clipping the ticket twice when the facts change.
Actually, When the Facts Change is a great podcast, and you should listen to it. It's out every Friday, and it features my friend and yours, Bernard Hickey.
Yeah.
He might not be your friend yet, but he will be after you listen to the podcast. It's all about economics and journalism and politics and the intersection of those things and business. Yeah, so have a listen.
And my personal friend, Sharon Casey, also on the guessing panel.
Okay, we're moving away from When the Facts Change now. Yes, Sharon Casey, always dresses lovely. And apparently very generous sharing around her outfits.
As we've heard.
As we've discussed on this very podcast.
With. And James Mackay, who is an Auckland comedian. It's just a great mix of people. It's a great balance. I feel like Lady Six is bringing a lot of...
gravitas?
She brings gravitas.
Legitimacy.
She brings legitimacy. She makes the show feel real. And I think it's going to be great. I'm really looking forward to it.
And how are you feeling about Clinton Randall as our host?
I feel like the host is not that important.
Ooh,
it's all about the panel.
All right,
It's all about the panel.
the contestants, whom we don't know who they are, except for one of them who accidentally let it slip, but we're obviously not going to spoil that for you, will be dressed as various creatures, from a tuatara to a monarch butterfly, and they're going to be eliminated and unmasked each week until there is one winner left, because I feel like we maybe haven't actually explained the format of the show. And they can be anyone from singers to celebrities to, it doesn't have to be singers, right? Like Kermit the Frog was one of the masked singers in the US. So
famous singer. But
to be fair, he's a famous singer,
famous singer
and a celebrity. But good luck guessing that it was him, you know?
Yeah. If you haven't seen the show before, I would just recommend searching Gremlin performance of Stand By Me, and then Gremlin reveals himself.
I haven't seen it. I'm going to...
You've got to watch it.
I will.
You've got to watch it. It
Say
is
no
the
more.
best, one of the best TV moments I have ever seen in my whole life. And the person inside is such a surprise. Although if you watch the performance, it might be quite obvious.
Okay, listen. RuPaul's Drag Race Down Under is starting this Saturday on TVNZ On Demand first, like evening time, right? 6 p.m. or something. And then it goes to like proper television.
TV2 at 8:30.
TV2 at 8:30. A reminder that we have a lovely drag race podcast called Drag Race Down Under the Covers. It's hosted by Eli Matthewson and Chris Parker. Very, very funny guys, and also very, very keen on Drag Race. And they're also going to have guests from the drag community in each week. So it's actually just dropping right here in the Real Pod feed.
You don't need to do anything.
You don't do anything unless you're not subscribed to the Real Pod already, in which case subscribe and then it will just pop up and you'll love it. Okay?
And tell your mates and your flatties.
Tag your flatties. I want to talk quickly about Crocs before we get to the real review,
Okay.
because the Oscars just happened, and the big winner on the night was Questlove's gold Crocs that he wore on
I
the
did
red
not
carpet.
see these. Golden Croc. Now, are you talking gold, solid gold?
No, of course not.
Well,
that would be extremely heavy. I'm talking metallic gold coloured.
Wow.
Have you found them?
I found them.
Quite a statement, hey?
It's like a little spray paint jobby.
It does. I mean, they look very custom, possibly done at home.
Yeah.
But everyone's talking about it, and by everyone, I mean you and me right now.
Wow.
So my question is this: was Moses onto something? Is this a Crocs? Is this really becoming a thing now, like properly, like internationally?
It has been, isn't it? On the runways.
I don't
you
know.
see them.
Yeah, but the runway's not real.
Balenciaga.
The runway's not real life. The red carpet's a little bit
The
closer.
Oscars are real.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, The Bachelor is real life.
The Bachelor is real life, and Moses wore Crocs a lot. A Croc with a sock, a Croc sand sock, and Crocs for art. There were Crocs aplenty and plenty of talk about Crocs. And so I'm just popping this in here just to keep an eye on as a developing story. It's the new lust bum.
Croc watch.
Croc
Do you
watch.
have Crocs?
No, and I've never considered owning a pair until I saw Questlove wearing those gold ones. My question to you is, do you go for the statement Croc or do you keep it subtle?
It's a good question. Two people in my life I'm very close to, both major Croc enthusiasts. My partner Joe has a bright yellow pair, which I actually bought him for Christmas.
Please tell me your mum wears Crocs.
My mum wears Crocs, but only white. She's like, she will not wear any other colour of Croc, which seems stupid because it is like a garden painting sort of shoe.
Not anymore. This is my point. Up until recently, the only people who could get away with Crocs were nurses.
And you're holding a pal saying that.
I am. So
And that's your message.
That's my message to you. So now they're coming into the community, they're spreading around like a virus, and your mum's wearing white ones, which is highly impractical, but bold.
But is a statement.
It's a statement, absolutely.
And just like that is her choice, that she would not waver.
Does she wear them out and about, or just in the garden?
Just around the house, I would say. Maybe for like a dog walk around the block, but they're slippery. You have to be careful. I've seen my mum's not fun. It's not funny.
Oh my god! I mean, my
I've
mum's just
seen
had
my mum slip down the stairs many times wearing Crocs.
I shouldn't laugh, but my mum's literally just had a hip replacement surgery after slipping over and fracturing her hip. Sorry,
Was she wearing Crocs?
No, she
Could have been
wasn't.
worse.
No.
Take that out.
Okay, let's get on to the real review.
This is great.
5 out of 5 from me.
The nicest thing that's ever happened.
And that's the real review. Okay, the Cornies, they know we're talking about their real reviews, and now they're real reviewing like absolute maniacs in the hopes of getting shouted out in the podcast, I can only assume. And that's exactly what's going to happen right now.
They don't want money, do they?
No.
No.
Do they?
This
They're
is
not. Just let you know, Cornies. Cornies, by the way, are affectionate name for the folks who are in the Real Pod Corner, that Facebook group I talked about earlier. They're just lovely people, aren't they? Who just want a bit of airtime.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not getting any money, guys. But this is a really interesting one, actually, because there's a lot to unpack in this very small photo. Brittany has posted a photo of the Breast Cancer Foundation NZ biscuits, and her review is simply this: they're Girl Guides, but not. So they look like a Girl Guide biscuit. It sounds like they taste like a Girl Guide biscuit. But in the background, on the arm of her sofa, she's got a cup of tea and what looks to be like a homemade choc chippy biscuit, which I think is all the review you need. Like if you're eating a biscuit, but you've got a backup better biscuit.
Backup biscuit. Can I see the image, please?
Yeah, yes, of course, certainly.
I have access to what the podcast listeners do not.
Just Google it. Where on a Girl Guide biscuit you'd have the Girl Guide logo. This is the pink ribbon logo, but it's not pink. It's just biscuit coloured.
Just biscuit coloured.
Just sort of a yellowy, vanilla.
I feel like
Bicky.
the Girl Guides logo holds more flavour.
The flavour's in the logo.
Yeah.
The flavour of the logo that is made of exactly the same thing as the biscuit itself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe it's because it can catch more butter.
Sorry.
Do you know what I mean?
With you not at you. Yeah, perhaps. Indeed. I don't know. Girl Guide biscuits stopped being a thing, right? Or can you still buy them online?
I think they're over.
Well, they're not. They've been reborn
Yeah, Girl Guide biscuit
in the
logo.
Breast Cancer Foundation New Zealand Bicky. Good cause. Go buy some and eat them. Abby has also done a real review for us. She's reviewed 3 things, one of which we've already had on, which was the raspberry jute squiggles. So I'm not going to do that. Sorry, Abby, it's not that your opinion doesn't count. It's just we've already done it. But the crunchy caramel M&Ms, she says, these remind me of a Dame bar, D-A-I-M. Never had one.
Never had that.
Or Heath bar, maybe Health. I don't know. Again, one of the best novelty flavour M&Ms for ages. I need more ASAP, 9.5 out of 10. I feel like she's talking about kinds of snacks we've never even heard of before. She's obviously...
Dame bar is from Sweden.
What about a Heath bar?
Oh, I can't Google fast enough. Heath bar. Candy.
Yum?
From
She's let me down.
the USA.
Okay. If you're sort of like a globe-trotting connoisseur of candy, you might know what a Dame bar and a Heath bar is, and apparently these are similar. Okay, fudge toffee pops. She says, I don't get it. They seem to be toffee pops with no toffee and with Russian fudge kind of filling instead. 3 per section, so they're not thick boys, not like the raspberry jute squiggles. And she gives them 6 out of 10 because they're still chocky bickies. But next time she's going to get the original toffee pops. I think toffee pops are a classic. I wouldn't mess with them.
There's too many new things.
Why is there so many? I have to ask you. It doesn't seem
toffee pops.
It doesn't seem economically viable. Do they do it because you got to change out the ingredients in the machinery and all that, and then you got to come up with new packaging and marketing? Do they do it so that you will be reminded of how good the original product is, and it
That
just
could be
puts
the
it back
long
on your
game.
radar?
Yeah, maybe they're just like throwing all this novelty stuff at us to then do a pullback. And
Yeah.
it's like we're going back to the 50s.
And it's like a lost
I don't know when
leader.
the toffee pops came out, but
Lost leader or something. Is that what?
is that?
That's it. So you sell something. No, that's
Loss
when
leader.
that's loss leaders when you sell something cheaper and maybe even lose money on it. so that you can. Then this is when the facts change. Okay, we're going to take a break and then we come back. Reality check. Talk to you soon. Talk at you soon.
Bad pod.
Hey there, it's local comedians Chris Parker
and Eli Matthewson.
and we're hosting a new podcast called Drag Race Down Under the Covers.
It's about cars. Just kidding. It's about drag queens and the new drag show hitting TVNZ on demand.
We're going to be getting into all the gossip, recapping the episode, and talking to local drag artists around New Zealand. So
subscribe to The Real Pod if you haven't already, and we'll be in there with a grin.
I have 4 weeks to decide I'm going to drop my entire life fee.
I am disgusted at how much you have copied my husband.
Just fine. Don't even know.
Righto, Alex, you've watched Popstars this week.
I have.
Good on you.
Where's me medal? I actually really, really enjoyed it. I watched last night's episode, so they're down to the top 12.
Okay. Are they in a house together?
Yeah, so they're staying in that place in Grey Lynn that's like the nun, the
convent.
Convent? Yeah.
So it's like a hotel or it's like a boutique accommodation, right? That's an old nunnery.
Yeah, which I don't know, I was imagining kind of a splashy bachelor mansion, but this is actually kind of cooler. And so they've all kind of moved in. I mean, they're all really young, like 17, 18. It's crazy. And so the irony with that is like the first kind of their major challenges, top 12, who were all, I think, under 20, was to like rearrange Tonight by True Bliss.
Oh!
Which was amazing because they did it.
It's a great challenge.
It was a great challenge. They did it in the Mercury Theatre, and True Bliss themselves, knee curly binding, were sitting there, and it was awesome. Like they broke off into like little groups, and I just really, really liked it. It was a great challenge. Jo Cotton crying her eyes out constantly, and it was just really funny because they were like, "Do you know who these women are?" When True Bliss walked out, and they were kind of like, "Yeah," but I could tell. I don't think they did.
I'm old enough to be all of their parent. Hang on.
Parent. All of their
parent. Well, they don't want to be, so I can't be parents. But that's terrifying.
It is slightly terrifying. And they're very talented. They can do everything.
I hate people like that.
They can do stuff on the computer.
I hate people like that, like Jonathan. Sorry,
Yeah,
Jonathan.
pointing at Jonathan right now. Turning on Jonathan in the room.
Only because I'm jealous, though. I wouldn't even say jack of all trades, but I'm so average at everything and terrible at most things. Does that make sense? I'm average at everything that I'm remotely skilled at, but most things I'm actually terrible at. It's a riddle. And if you know the answer, email us, podcast@thespinoff.co.nz. I'm not even good at explaining myself. Yeah, it's a good example.
They also did, the second half of the episode, they kind of spoke to some man with grey hair who does beat poems. I forgot. I don't know anyone's names involved in this program apart from Kimbra. And they got to like write a letter to their younger selves.
Oh, I love a letter to your younger self.
If you're 16, are you writing to like yourself when you're 5?
Yes.
And what are you saying then?
Stay in school. I don't know. If you were to write a letter to 21-year-old Alex Casey to be presented to yourself and you only had one piece of advice, one line, what would it be?
21?
Yeah.
That doesn't even seem like that long ago.
Okay, don't rub it in.
Get your driver's license, you lazy shit.
How long did you take to get your driver's license?
I still don't have it.
What?
I've been on my learners for 10 years.
Well, that's a license.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm dancing with the devil every day.
Whatever you do,
every damn day.
Do not admit that publicly because we have a huge police following or NZTA following or whoever it is that is responsible for driver licensing in New Zealand.
What would your piece of advice be to your 21-year-old self?
Don't fuck shit up as much as you're going to. Yeah, just in general. Yeah. Pretty hard on myself.
And then we could get Jonathan to put a beat under that.
Yeah.
And that could be...
And it's a song.
Yeah. But they did this challenge and it was actually extremely emotional. Not like ours. I mean, yours was actually quite heavy and I'm sort of freaking out about it. But it was, yeah, it's just you're getting a sense now of the individuals and what they bring and it feels like a proper show now.
It sounds like there's a very diverse range of ages. I can't wait to tune in. Can old people not be pop stars? Of course they can't.
I think there was even a cutoff for auditions, like at 24 or
Oh
something.
my God. Yeah, no, okay. That's for like X Factor or something where they have like the over
Susan
over
Boyle.
75s group, you know. This is not that show. Okay, I might come into it now that MAFS is winding up.
Yeah. It's a good time.
Is there anything else you want to add?
No.
Okay. Because speaking of MAFS,
Well, should we just get Johnny and Kerry out of the way? Gorgeous vows.
Beautiful.
I cried.
I
They're in love. They're going to get married. I'm so excited.
I
mean, I don't know that they're going to get properly married, but I would like that to happen.
they do definitely seem like they have benefited from having been through marriages before and coming into it from the same kind of stage and place in life. Also, her dress, to die for.
To die for. The setting, the big flower wall, botanic gardens.
Amazing. Then what else happened? Oh, well, then there's, which one do you want to do first?
I don't know.
Well, let's do Melissa and Bryce.
Melissa and Bryce. Now, here was the moment where my partner Joe and I were sitting on the couch and I was determined that this was going to be Melissa's moment of retribution.
I knew it wasn't.
That's what he was saying. But I've been operating on this thing where I've been able to suspend my values and morals because I was like, there's no way production would put her through this unless she got to have her retribution, unless Bryce got his comeuppance at the end. I was like, there's no way that they could be behind this if that doesn't happen.
Have you seen this show before?
I know, but I feel like things were changing. I thought
not.
it was going to be different this time.
Never different.
They're falling in love with each other.
I know, and I kind of think that I don't know, I definitely think she is. I think that Bryce has got caught out. I mean, the rumours are that the girl on the outside was like right up into the very last, like he did break up with her, but not until like a couple of days before the vows. I don't know. I've owned 99.9%. I haven't seen all the evidence. So I'm just saying what I have read and heard on the Daily Mail. And I think he's got to this point where he's like, fuck, if I come out of this and I don't pick Melissa or don't stay with her, then I'm going to be at Schitt's Creek. So now I'm going to commit to her for some time until I can break up. You know, like he's basically going to stay with her for some time. I just don't. I could, with the bit where they're like talking to the camera about how happy they are, and Melissa's looking up at him all doe-eyed, and he's just like, yeah, good, we're in love,
cool.
yeah, cool, yeah, we're gonna go to Canberra, yay. I didn't buy it.
I mean, we didn't actually talk about it, but when they had their last moment together, that was really telling because like Johnny and Kerry were hugging each other, being like, I feel like my heart's being ripped out of my chest, I can't be away from you. And Bryce like got his little wheelie bag and was like, adios. And that was it.
Yeah.
And just walked away.
Yeah.
It's bullshit. I hate it.
That's such bullshit.
And now it's like making me think about there's all this extra stuff happening around the show, right? There's that giant petition now for Channel 9 to like apologise for the way that they've handled that
Really?
story,
No, I didn't know that.
and they're having Bryce on the show. And I mean, I'm still crossing my fingers. Maybe the reunion, Melissa will get her moment. Maybe.
We'll see. The other two, what are they called?
Jason and Alana.
Now
this is amazing.
This was really, really interesting. They did it on a beach, very public, and there was a kid or someone in a red t-shirt trying to get into shot, which was hilarious during their final vows. But we knew before Alana even started walking up that beach aisle that she was going to turn Jason down. She'd said it in her pre-roll. She was talking about how her time apart from him was very telling because she was hoping that it would indicate to her that she missed him a lot and that they should be together, but it did the opposite, okay? Meanwhile, Jason's all like, I'm falling in love with her.
He's ringing his mum.
Mum's all like, if you've got a good thing, grab it with both hands. And so we can see where this is going. Heartbreaksville. But then
something turns on that beach. The wind changes and a child runs past. And Alana can see a future with Jason after his vows.
Yeah.
We should say.
So his vows were beautiful.
They were.
He's falling in love with her and so on and so forth. And the whole time, if he couldn't tell from her face that she was about to dump him, he is an absolute idiot. She just looked so uncomfortable. She definitely looked like someone who didn't want to hurt the person they were about to hurt. And then it got to her vows and she was quite brutal, I thought, for a breakup vow. She was like, because they seemed like things were quite good between them. And then she was just like, you did this and you did that. And then she just changed her mind.
Changes her mind mid-sentence, seemingly.
Yeah, and you can
it's
really
like-
tell because she was very scripted, monotone, reading off the cards, all the bad things. And you could see Jason's face dropping and getting devastated. And then she just started talking without looking down and just in a normal kind of tone with a lot more dynamic to her voice. And she was like, but I want to give this a go and just see how it works out.
Yeah, and that's what I've always written. And now I'm going to throw the cards into the wind and no one look at those ever again.
He did say to her, did you just change your mind right now? And she was like, yep.
Awesome moment. I mean,
yeah, good on her. I mean, I think it was apparently when he said that he was falling in love with her that she was like, oh, okay, maybe I do have some feelings. Maybe I do want to see
you
this
might
through.
as well just say yes and then,
Yeah, just see how it goes.
yeah, cut it off a week later.
Right, so that's the second lot of vows. Before we do, I know this is weird and this is going off script quite a lot, which is very unusual for us, but I just want to drop in a quick Colin's Cranny.
Wow, okay, cran away. Colin's Cranny, Colin's Cranny, Colin's Cranny, 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 Cranny. Colin's Cranny. Oh,
That was the chair. It was the chair.
Was the chair.
It was the chair. It's the chair, she says. Mm-hmm. You know how Cher once sang, if I could turn back time, if I could find a way. And then she went on about take back all the words. If I were to sing that song, it would be, if I could turn back time, if I could find a way, I would look at Colin Mathura-Jeffrey's Twitter and read his live updates of MAFS AU, which I didn't realise that he was doing on Twitter.
Wow.
It's not very catchy and it doesn't rhyme, but it's me speaking my truth.
We need to do a redo. We need to do the whole podcast
Do
again.
the whole podcast again. We need to turn back time. So Colin's been live tweeting MAFS AU and I didn't know.
Amazing. Amazing. What are the highlights? Have you got some?
No.
Okay. Okay.
I have none. I'm just distraught that it even happened and I wasn't across it.
Did I tell you that I saw Colin? At that weird wellness event I went to? And I talked to him about the cream donut coffins and he had obviously already seen it.
Oh.
He had already seen it. He knew all about
Of course
it.
he did.
He knew all about it.
Did it give you any indication? Sorry if you're new to this podcast. We're referencing something we talked about in an episode about 2 or 3 episodes ago. But did he make any statement about what kind of coffin he would choose were he to choose?
He indicated very strongly that he wanted the cream donut one.
So I
he
really would love him to have a lamington one, but let's face it, lamingtons are square.
But it's the length, yeah. You can get those long family lamingtons.
Why do we have to lay down in a coffin though? Could we go fetal? Is rigor mortis an issue with that? I'm just thinking if someone were to opt for a lamington coffin, and is there an issue at the cemetery with that? But if you're getting cremated, surely.
I think it's like the second you die, you have to go into that
Right.
before rigor mortis sets in. You need to jump straight into the lamington position.
So it's not impossible. But then I guess you have issues with, like at the crematorium where they have the where you get lowered into or whatever. It might not be shaped for that. It might be changing the whole industry. Just a thought,
They
though.
need to build square.
They need to be more open-minded. Okay, anyway.
But you get burned in the lamington. I don't know. I don't know anything about death.
That's how... Do you think they take people out of the coffins and
I
then
thought
reuse
you got
them?
buried in the lamington.
Well, you can get burnt or buried.
Oh, okay.
Either way. But even if you were to get buried in a lamington, that's going to affect your plot size. So that's, again, it's reorganising the whole kind of cemetery layout. Yeah.
But no, Colin said he wanted the cream donut.
Okay.
So he could, quote unquote, cream over everyone at the funeral.
Jesus Christ.
I'm just quoting. I'm a journalist. I'm reporting.
Okay. Thanks, Colin. For
News,
that.
not views.
Wow.
Is that too rude to the pod?
No, it's fine.
We'll beep it out.
No, it's fine. Let's get on to the second lot of vows.
It's interesting because it suggests that the coffin is exploding or something as well. Anyway.
He was just using it as an excuse to be rude.
He was
rude pod.
Yeah. He'll show us rude.
Okay, so first of all, I want to say about the vows. Who's writing these vows? Because it sure ain't the contestants. Every single lot of these vows is of a certain arc, like a certain narrative arc of like bad stuff, good stuff, decision.
Yeah.
And I feel like I could do a great job of that. Is
You
there
can
a
see all the
maths-
beats.
Yeah. Is there a maths vow writer job going anywhere? Not that I'm unhappy here, by the way.
You could do it like side hustle, freelance.
Side hustle, yeah.
Yeah, on
Nights and weekends.
Fiverr or something. So what is that arc? Can you describe it?
The arc is saying nice things about like when you first got there, like when I first saw you, yada, yada, yada. And then moving into something, make them think you're going to say you want to spend the rest of your life with them. Then pivot quite suddenly with a big but or however. And then go into some of the hot points of moments of conflict and how they made you feel. And then one of two things happens. You say, and for that reason, I don't want to continue. Or you go, however, again, my feelings for you are such that blah, 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 and then you do the fake. It's a fakie.
It's a fakie. But having doubts is normal.
Yeah.
That's always what they say.
Yeah.
Belinda said that.
And as we saw with Alana, changing the script on the fly.
Amazing
work. And let's dive into this week's vows and see who did what.
Jake and Bex.
Beck is 50-50 on Jake. Seems like if you're 50-50 and you're walking into final vows, probably a no. Would that not be?
Jake wore a tie and she loved that.
Oh yeah, and she was like, if you
beautiful.
could go back and wear that tie on our wedding day, would you? And he was like, yep. She didn't say anything about his teeth this time, thankfully, or his tattoos. Would you also get your teeth fixed and remove your tattoos?
Get that sort of thick, thin Lizzie concealer for those tats.
So the big surprise here is that they decide to make a go of it, which is just,
what happens to these people in these few weeks where they are apart is what I want to know.
Well, I think for Beck, sorry for being like a negative Nancy here and not a true believer in love and change, but I think Beck just wants as much airtime as possible and as much publicity out the back of this as possible. And that includes staying with the husband that you mostly hate so that you can at least get a few magazine covers, a bit of Daily Mail time, you know?
I understand that about Bex. It's Jake's decision that I don't understand. He said that a part of him loves her.
Which part?
Which part?
Which part? Is it possibly the part that hasn't slept with her yet and would at least like to tick that off? I don't know. That's a nasty thing to assume.
He said you were rude, condescending, and cold.
Just what I've been looking for in a wife.
And I love you for it. He said no woman has ever made me feel each and every emotion. Anger, frustration, sadness, even love. It's like, what are you saying?
There's an imbalance there. I don't know. Is there any possibility that the edit painted Beck in an unfavourable light when in fact there were lots of lovely things about her we didn't get to see? There's not, is there?
I just don't know why you wouldn't put it in, because you want us to be on the journey. Otherwise it just looks like a sham. And we're all in on love, even despite what you just said.
Despite me saying I am not in on love, we are all in on love.
I also love how Beck was like, we're so different. Your cynicism compared with my good humour and banter. It was like, what are you talking about, Bex?
She is constantly negging on him, even when she's trying to say something nice. And Liam does the same thing with Georgia.
Yeah.
When he's trying to say nice things about her, he does it in a way that is like really horrible.
The neg. This
Anyway.
all goes back to the game.
Next week we get to find out if these people are all still together. So hold on to your hats and horses. Okay, who's next?
Belinda and Patrick. I mean, we knew where this was going.
We knew where it was going, and it was going to a lovely, sweet, naive place where hopefully they'll get to say, I love you. Did they say I love you?
Well, Belinda said that she had fallen in love with Patrick, and I think he's been saying it since day dot, really.
What's the difference? Love guru. What's the
Falling
difference
in
between
love.
falling in love with you and I love you? It's two things that we hear a lot on reality TV, and they seem to have very different meanings.
Falling in love is just pretty catch-all, isn't it?
I think falling in love is 1 foot still not quite on the property, you know?
1 foot out of the Lamington grave.
Yeah. It's not fully committing to the I love you, because when you say I love you, you're all in.
It's just kind of an awkward. I feel like have we even seen someone say I love you on MAFS? Oh no, Kerry and Johnny did.
Yeah, we have seen it. We have seen it, but we've also seen. Then there's also beginning to fall in love with you.
Beginning to think about that four-letter word, as Bryce said. But no, they're in love. It's all fine. Patrick was nervous and he was sweating, and he said that he was shitting chicken nuggets everywhere, which, compared to shitting carrots on day one.
If he keeps going, he's going to have a whole plate full of all the major food groups.
It's a platter.
Shitting pods?
I wish.
Okay, now for the big finale. Georgia and Liam. This was really dramatic.
This came out of nowhere for me. It reminded me of like the Willie Moon moment watching it. Like it just came out of nowhere, and I was kind of I was aghast.
There were like 3 moments that really surprised me. Okay. One was that Liam kind of did a whole U-turn and decided that he was actually in love with Georgia. Mm-hmm. The second was Georgia laying down, like speaking up for herself, laying down the law to Liam about what is and isn't acceptable, and then and as a kind of like a sub point to that, but then swinging back around and saying that she did, in fact, want to continue with him. Mm-hmm. And the third surprise was then Liam's reaction to that, which was insane.
To storm out and say, you don't know me. I don't want to be with someone who doesn't know me. It's over.
The reason it was insane was that he wanted to be with her and he loved her. And then she basically said, look, here's a few shit things that you did that anyone with eyes and ears would understand as shit. And you should understand as shit. But I'm prepared to forgive you for that. And I think we've got something that's worth working on. And then he was just like, nah, no, you said mean things just now. I guess he felt humiliated. I think he's
classic embarrassed man. Yeah, just doesn't know how to deal with that. I do think, I can see why Georgia would have felt shit by what happened at the final dinner party, and how that would have also been exacerbated by her leaving and talking to her extremely fabulous mother, who looks like Ginny Lemon from Drag Race, one for the UK fans.
I'm sorry, but we can see where Georgia gets her glam side. And also her mum was the total voice of reason as well, which is, she was just like, you've never had a confidence problem, and if this person's making you feel unconfident, like, that's shit. I will support you no matter what decision you make, but you should value yourself more.
Yeah, which is terrific advice. I just think that maybe Georgia's vows, she just delivered them a little too harshly.
Well, this is when they need a professional final vows writer to
come on board,
tick the check boxes of the narrative arc, but also hopefully lead to some sort of
manage the tone.
Yeah,
because it was just like, you don't believe that you deserve love, so you self-sabotage. You don't know how to be loved, which was her trying to reach out and say, and I'm giving you the opportunity to love me, but it just sounded like she was sort of just, I don't know, taking him down many, many, many notches.
I mean, the thing for me about that self-sabotage stuff is that's not something that we have heard in terms of Liam. We heard it with Alana. Alana mentioned how she self-sabotages, or she sabotages relationships when she starts getting scared. We haven't heard that about Liam. So unless it's a conversation that they've had, she's kind of diagnosing him, which I understand is like not ideal. However, everything else she said I feel was completely justified. I think that the way that he behaved at the dinner party was outrageously bad. Mm-hmm. I think, like you said, he benefited from Bryce being a giant villain, because it meant that his, some of his more innocuous comments and things kind of just didn't seem as dramatic as Bryce. But they were damaging. And I think, their whole relationship, he was kind of negging her here and there, and then it culminated in that dinner party where he said, no, his family were not going to accept her. I just think that was the fact that conversation happened as well in front of other people, and he didn't do anything to tone it down. Mm-hmm. And everyone's just like, oh, he's really no filter, he's really upfront. It's like, no, that's just rude.
And the fact that he got a chance the next day as well to apologise, and he kind of turned it around on her and made it about her insecurities and that she doesn't trust him and all this stuff. Like, I get all of that. I just thought the way that Georgia's vows read was like, at the end, she was going to go mic drop, I'm so much better than you, why would I stoop? And then she went, and that's why I'm giving you another chance.
Yeah.
And it just felt so, I don't know, it just didn't feel right at all.
I think he was just super humiliated. And then he stormed off, and that was that.
And they were both just kind of sobbing separately. And were they in was it a church?
It didn't seem like it were a museum.
It was a gorgeous setting.
It was beautiful. Beautiful place to get your heart stomped on.
And they were all just sobbing, and that was kind of it. They just called it quits at the altar, and Georgia was just still standing there like, holy shit.
Something we haven't talked about is when Liam went and talked to his friend, his best friend, who, and his big issue is it takes Georgia a long time to get ready before we go out. And the friend was like, girls take a long time to get ready, which it's a huge generalisation. But I think the point she's making is there are a lot of people who take a long time. Just because she's a glamorous being doesn't make her the only person who takes a long time to get ready.
Yeah.
And that was like a light bulb moment. I mean,
he was like, I
think
think I love her.
Yeah. Oh my God, if everyone's going to take ages to get ready, I might as well just take what I've got.
But also use that time. You've got borrowed time, my friend. Learn a language.
I would be playing games on my phone.
You should count yourself lucky that, you get to live in a world where you don't need 3 hours to put a new face on your face.
Exactly.
Good sir.
And on that note, that's the end of our podcast for this week. Until next week, when we have another dinner party, a reunion dinner party.
Oh, I am so excited for the reunion.
And then one more session with the... I think does everyone come back for the couch session with the experts?
Rusty.
Oh my God, I can't bloody wait.
Beth's got a fringe. I'm so excited.
Who's going to make it and who's not going to make it, in your opinion? Do you think that Georgia and Liam can come back from this?
I don't think they will. I am hoping and praying that we're going to get some update on Melissa and Bryce. That's the thing that bothered me is Georgia got the mic drop that Melissa should have got, right? She said, that delivery, that amazing kind of speech, that should have been Melissa's speech. But it wasn't.
But the problem is they both should have dropped the mics.
Yeah.
But also, okay, so we're going to get an update on Melissa and Bryce. Kerry and Johnny, I'm really hopeful for. If those two are not together out the back of all this, if we come to the dinner party and they arrive separately, I'm walking away.
If
like
those
Craig
two
David, I'm out of here.
If they have not adopted some kind of rescue animal, I'm going to fucking lose it.
That would be the true tragedy of this show. Okay, thank you for listening. Don't forget to check out The Real Pod Corner. Also, check out all our other podcasts. Subscribe to as many as take your fancy, preferably all of them. And definitely subscribe to this one. Got that Drag Race Down Under the Covers episode coming out this Saturday. Thank you, Jonathan, for recording. Thank you to the Spin-Off members. Thank you to Alex Casey.
Thank you, Jane.
Resplendent and blue today.
Thank you very much.
Goodbye.
Kia ora, I'm Alex Casey, senior writer at The Spin-Off. We wouldn't exist without the ongoing support of our generous members. If you're able to, you can make a donation at thespinoff.co.nz/donate.
Do you find it hard staying optimistic with all the financial news in the media? I'm Bernard Hickey, and on my podcast, When the Facts Change, I'm here to help you navigate the ever-changing landscape of economics in Aotearoa. So join the conversation every Friday on When the Facts Change, brought to you by the Spin-Off Podcast Network in partnership with KiwiBet.
The Spin-Off Podcast Network.